Imagine standing before a crowd, your heart racing, palms sweating, as a voice inside whispers, "You don't belong here. They'll see through you." This visceral fear of exposure, of being deemed inadequate, fraudulent, or unworthy haunts even the most accomplished individuals. At the core of this universal struggle lies a question that Carl Jung spent his career unraveling. Why do human beings, endowed with such vast potential, so often feel crippled by self-doubt? Jung's answer lies not in superficial fixes like positive thinking, but in the hidden architecture of the psyche. To him, confidence is not merely a trait one possesses, but a fragile equilibrium between the masks we wear, the shadows we bury, and the ancient stories we unconsciously reenact. By probing Jung's concepts of the persona, the shadow, and the collective unconscious, we uncover how insecurity is not a personal failing, but a symptom of the soul's unresolved battle with itself. Jung's theory begins with the persona, the social mask we construct to navigate the world. Like an actor playing a role, the persona is shaped by cultural expectations, family values, and the desire to belong. A child praised for obedience learns to equate compliance with acceptance. An adult rewarded for stoicism hides vulnerability behind a facade of strength. The persona, however, is a double-edged sword. While it helps us function in society, over-identification with this mask breeds what Jung called inflation, a brittle self-image detached from the authentic self. Consider the high-achieving executive who thrives professionally yet feels hollow privately. Their confidence hinges on external validation, a promotion, praise, because their persona has eclipsed their true identity. When the mask slips, a failed project, a critical remark, the underlying void of self-worth is exposed. This dissonance between the curated self and the inner self is fertile ground for insecurity. Beneath the persona lurks the shadow, Jung's term for the repressed, unconscious aspects of the psyche deemed unacceptable: aggression, desire, vulnerability, or perceived weaknesses. Society teaches us to disown these traits. Boys are shamed for crying. Girls are chastised for assertiveness. Yet the shadow does not disappear. It festers in the unconscious, projecting itself onto others or erupting in self-sabotage. A person who denies their own anger might label others as hostile, or an individual ashamed of their insecurities might mock another's vulnerabilities. This projection creates a fragile self-concept, as the shadow's contents, unacknowledged and unloved, haunt the individual with whispers of inadequacy. For example, a talented artist who internalizes societal scorn for impractical careers may bury their passion, only to later feel like a fraud in a conventional job. Their lack of confidence stems not from a lack of skill, but from the psychic fracture between their authentic desires, shadow, and their socially approved persona. Compounding this inner conflict is the collective unconscious, Jung's concept of a shared reservoir of ancestral memories and archetypes. Universal symbols like the hero, the mother, or the wise old man. These archetypes shape our ideals and aspirations, often setting impossible standards. The hero archetype, for instance, glorifies triumph over adversity, pushing individuals to seek perfection while vilifying failure. A student raised on tales of genius may interpret a single poor grade not as a setback, but as proof they are fundamentally not enough. Similarly, the anima/animus archetype, the inner feminine/masculine, can clash with cultural gender norms, leaving individuals feeling alienated from their true nature. A woman pressured to embody nurturing femininity might suppress her ambition, doubting her leadership abilities. A man conditioned to reject emotionality may feel ashamed of his sensitivity, interpreting it as weakness. Archetypes, while meant to guide, become cages when rigidly enforced, breeding insecurity in those who cannot conform. At the heart of Jung's framework is the process of individuation, the integration of the persona, shadow, and archetypes into a cohesive self. Insecurity arises when this process stalls. Consider the young adult paralyzed by career choices, fearing that any path will betray some part of their identity. They are caught between archetypal expectations, be successful, shadow fears, what if I'm not good enough, and a persona crafted to please others, I should become a lawyer like my parents. Without integration, the psyche remains fragmented, each splintered piece warring for dominance. This internal chaos manifests as indecision, self-doubt, and the pervasive sense of being an imposter. Jung also identified the role of neurosis, a state of anxiety stemming from the conscious mind's refusal to confront the unconscious. Modern life exacerbates this divide. Social media, for instance, amplifies the persona's demands, encouraging curated perfection while silencing the shadow's raw truths. A teenager comparing their messy reality to peers' polished feeds internalizes shame, believing their struggles are unique failures. Meanwhile, the collective unconscious bombards them with archetypal narratives of overnight success or effortless beauty, deepening the rift between their lived experience and societal ideals. The result is a generation grappling with unprecedented rates of anxiety and self-doubt, not because they are weaker, but because the psyche's inherent complexities are starved of acknowledgement. Yet Jung offers a path forward: shadow work. By confronting the disowned parts of the self, through therapy, art, or introspection, individuals reclaim their wholeness. A man ashamed of his past mistakes might journal about his regrets, discovering empathy for his younger self. A woman terrified of public speaking might explore her fear's roots, unearthing a childhood memory of humiliation. As the shadow integrates, the persona softens, no longer a brittle mask but a flexible expression of authenticity. Archetypes, too, transform from oppressive templates into guiding myths. The hero becomes not a demand for perfection, but an invitation to courage. The anima/animus evolves into a balance of strength and tenderness. Confidence, in this light, is not the absence of fear, but the capacity to hold fear alongside self-compassion. Ultimately, Jung's analysis reveals that insecurity is not a flaw, but a call to adventure, a summons to venture into the psyche's depths and retrieve the fragments of self exiled by shame. The person who lacks confidence is not broken. They are at the threshold of becoming. To stand in that uncertain space, to face the shadow and whisper, "I see you," is to begin the alchemy of turning fear into wholeness. In Jung's words, who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. The awakening is not to invincibility, but to humanity, messy, imperfect, and radiant in its entirety.